So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be talking about the Indian Express newspaper. We will take up the articles from weekend as well as today, that is Monday. So let's start with the discussion. Finally, newspaper could be downloaded, or you can say e-paper has been downloaded. So we will be discussing that screenshots again. So when we are talking about today's outline, we will be starting with the practice question and then we will move further with the fact of the day. In this, we will be talking about the auroras. Okay, so recently there was this phenomena which was visible in Germany. Okay, so because of which it was again in the news, and we will be talking about that. Then we will come to the next one, that is know our constitution. In this section today, we will be talking about the emergency provisions. Okay, so when we talk about the part 18, we will be talking about the emergency provision. So here today we will be discussing only national emergency. Okay, that is article 352 and around. Okay, moving further, we will be talking about these 4-5 articles over here, that is UN peacekeeping under fire. When we talk about the situation in Lebanon, okay, there this UN peacekeeping forces were there, and you can say there was some kind of attack which has happened and 2 or 3 people has injured as well. And when we talk about the UN peacekeeping forces, you can say Indians were also there. We have also the contribution, or you can say the largest, one of the largest contribution in the peacekeeping forces. So we will be talking about that as well. Okay, then expanding the IDEX scheme with respect to the defense production. You know that I have told you earlier that in the sections like defense or space, other than that also industry, etc., India is going for the manufacturing in India only, like semiconductors, chips, etc. So India is trying to be a hub over here, and that is why this particular section or this scheme was there, and this scheme is related to the productions in the defense sector. Okay, so we will be talking about that, and government is trying to expand the you can say scope of the IDEX scheme. So we will see. Then rupee hits the record low. When we talk about the rupee with respect to the dollar, it was seen that rupee has gone for the hit. So we will be talking about that, why it has happened. Okay. Now we will be seeing practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Okay, so question was, which commission recommended 27% for OBC in central government jobs? Okay, so that was Mandal Commission, that is option C. We know that Mandal Commission, that is quite famous. Okay, so the report was implemented in 1992. After that, the recommendations of this report, or you can say the implementation, has been challenged in the Supreme Court in the Indira Sahani case. Okay, Indira. And you know that in the Indira Soni case, they have upheld the 27% reservation for OBCs, but they have said that there should be a concept of creamy layer as well. Other than that, they have gone for the 50% cap in this particular, you can say, judgment. Okay. Then when we talk about the Ram Nandan Prasad Commission, that was related to the creamy layer. Okay. When we talked about that in OBC, there will be, you can say, 2 sections. One should be creamy layer and second should be non-creamy layer. Okay. So how it will be decided who is creamy layer or not? For that, there was this another commission, that was Ram Nandan Prasad Commission. Okay, so please keep you can say both of them in your mind, because that can be asked. Mandal Commission has been asked in the past. There are chances that Ram Nandan Prasad Commission can be asked in any examination. Okay, now let's move further and see. We have this GS Foundation course which are being commenced at various centers of the Drishti IAS. So next batch are there in Lucknow center, that is 16th of October, and in Karol Bagh center, that will be 17th of October. This is an offline batch which is there in the English medium. So you can directly visit the center. You can call on this number, that is 8010440440 for any kind of query. You can call on this number, or you can directly visit the center and get enrolled in the batch. Okay. Now let's move further and see fact of the day. Now why we have taken this? Because recently in Germany there was this northern lights. Okay, that northern lights, these are also known as the aurora borealis. Okay, these aurora borealis were visible in the, you can say, northern countries, or the, you can say, when we talk about the Arctic Circle countries, over there this was visible. So recently it was visible in the eastern Germany, and we have seen the you can say effect in the Ladakh as well, because you know that we have this you can say observatory which is there in Ladakh. So you can tell me in the comment box that what is the name of that particular observatory. We have discussed that various times now. Okay, now coming to the aurora, what are auroras? So Auroras are the luminous phenomena that occurs near the northern and the southern poles. Okay, so in northern pole it is called as aurora borealis, which we have seen over here. Then when we talk about the southern pole, that is aurora australis. Okay, australis, because this is you can say in the vicinity of Australia. Okay, anyways, when we talk about these auroras, these are nothing but these are basically happening because of the interaction of the light with the ions which are present over there. Okay, so when we talk about the atmosphere, there are various charged particles. Okay, these charged particles are basically your ions. You must have heard about the, you can say, Na plus, Cl minus. These are the ions, and these are charged particles because they are having a charge over there. This is positive charge, this is negative charge. So similarly, there are various charged particles which are present in the atmosphere, and because of the light's interaction with the charged particle, we see these phenomena. Okay, so they are caused by the interaction of charged particles from the sun with the earth's magnetic field and the atmosphere. Now when we talk about these charged particles which are coming from the sun, how it is coming from the sun? From the sun there are various you can say particles or masses, or you can say along with the lights, heat, there are various particles which are getting ejected from the sun. Okay, and they are entering into the atmosphere continuously. Then when they comes into the earth's magnetic field, you know that when we talk about earth, where we have these poles and we have magnetic fields like this. Okay, and most of the magnetic field is getting concentrated over here because these are the pole, north pole and south pole. Okay, in this particular area when we are having this magnetic field and these charged particles are coming over there, because of which there was this you can say light which is getting produced. So that is because of the earth magnetic field and the atmosphere and the charged particle from the sun. Coming to the next one, composition and color. Aurora consists of gases, particles including oxygen and nitrogen. The collision of these particles with the atmosphere release the energy in the form of light. Okay, since in the atmosphere also there are certain elements which are present, that is gases. Okay, there are other ions which are present in the atmosphere as well. Then these ions which are coming from the sun, they get interaction over there, or you can say some kind of collision which is happening over there, and since there was this collision, there is this lighting effect which is being produced over here. It is similar to the lightnings which are happening, but the thing is, since this is in a particular magnetic field and atmosphere, so you won't be seeing the sounds etc., but these lights are getting produced over there. Okay, the collision of these particles with the atmosphere release energy in the form of the light. The colors observed in the aurora depends on the type of gas and the altitude of the collision, because at the higher altitude you will be seeing lesser of the gases. In the, you can say, vicinity of atmosphere, you will be seeing high content of the gases, because of which there will be the difference in the color. Other than that also, because of the difference in the ion, or you can say because of the nature of gas is getting changed, and that is why the color of the lights can be changed. Okay, so this is about the auroras and the, you can say, northern lights or the southern lights. Okay, so that is about it. Now we can move further to the next one, that is constitution. We have discussed all these parts. Last time we have discussed the official language, and now we will be discussing about the emergency provisions that are there in the part 18. Okay, now in the part 18 there are various emergency provisions which are there, and you can say there are three kind of emergency generally we talk about, and today we will be discussing about the national emergency. Okay, so let's start. Here you can see type of emergency: national, president's rule, that is basically called as state emergency. State emergency is a term for the layman, but the technical term you can use is, that is, president's rule. Okay, moving further, financial emergency, that is in the financial context. Article 352 is talking about the national emergency, Article 356 is talking about the president's rule, and Article 360 is talking about the financial emergency. Easy to remember, 352 plus 4, that is 356, plus 4, that is 360. Okay, so these are the three type of emergency which India has. There are various effects of these emergencies, okay, that you must know because you must have read about all these things in the statistics. Now talking about the, you can say, national emergency. Okay, Article 352 is talking about the national emergency. Who can impose the national emergency? That is president. Okay, on the advice of the cabinet, and for that also this advice should be in the written format. When we talk about the judicial review of this particular decision, okay, earlier this was immune in article, I guess 38th Constitutional Amendment Act was there, because of which this particular decision was made you can say immune from the judicial review. But then after the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, again that was made, you can say, judicially reviewable. Okay, now let's talk about certain facts from here. When we talk about the national emergency, there are three, you can say, criteria for which, okay. So in three cases you can go for the national emergency. That is, one is the war, second is the external aggression. If someone is coming from the some force is coming from the outside and they are trying to, you know, show some kind of aggression along the borders, etc., that can be one you know, case. Second is the war, that is obvious, and third is the armed rebellion, okay. Now earlier this word was internal disturbances, and since this was a open ended term which was there, so that was actually been, you can say, replaced by the word that is armed rebellion. So there are three criteria. One is your, you can say, war, external aggression, and the armed rebellion, because of which you can go for the emergency, okay. Please remember that 44th Constitution Amendment Act was the act when they have gone for the, you can say, change in this particular term, okay. Coming to the next one, can apply to the whole country or specific parts of the country, okay. So that was also there in the 42nd Amendment. When we talk about the 42nd Constitution Amendment Act, you know that is called as the mini constitution, because there was various things which has been changed over here, okay, even fundamental duties, etc. And after that, you know that there was some changes which were made in the directive principles as well, okay. Then these were the changes which has made over here. And second is 44th Constitution Amendment Act. These two acts are quite prominent, okay, and important for your examinations, okay. Coming to the next one, the president declares the national emergency based on a written recommendation from the cabinet, okay. So here, advice of council of ministers is not seeking, it is advice of the cabinet, and that should be in the written. Coming to the next one, it must be approved by the both houses of parliament within 1 month by special majority, okay. After the declaration of the national emergency, within 1 month you have to go for the, you can say, approval by the parliament, and that should be with the special majority, okay. And that is of majority of total membership, that is 50% of the total membership, and you can say, and second is your 2/3 of the present and voting, okay. So that is your special majority. Now coming to the next one, over here you will be seeing judicial review. I have told you that initially with the 38th Amendment Act, it was actually made immune, the decision of the president with respect to the emergency, that was made immune. Then afterwards with the 44th amendment, it was restored. Earlier I might have told you 42nd, so it is not 42nd, this is 44th, okay. So when we talk about the judicial review, again in the 44th Amendment Act, it was made judicially reviewable, okay. It can be challenged on the ground of malified intent or the irrelevant facts, okay. That was said in the Minerva Mills case. Now duration of the, you can say, national emergency, that remains in force for the 6 months and can be extended indefinitely with the parliament's approval every 6 months, okay. So you can go for the, once you declare a national emergency and it has been approved by the parliament, okay, then it can be there for the 6 months. After every 6 months you have to get the approval, and you can get it for the indefinite period of time, okay. So that is there, but for every 6 months you have to get the approval, okay. And that was also made, that provisions was also made in the 44th Amendment Act, that is 1978, okay. Revocation, president can revoke it at any time, or otherwise if the parliament is disapproving for the resolution, that means that it will you know, obviously it can actually be revoked, okay. So it can be revoked by the president at any point of time, or by the Lok Sabha with a simple majority resolution, okay. So it is when we talk about the approval is seeking you special majority, okay. You have to go for the special majority for the approval, but for the revocation simple majority will be enough, okay. So that is there. Moving further, and we will be starting with the discussions today, okay. So coming to the when was the last national emergency declared? That was during the time of Indira Gandhi, okay, 77, 78, I guess. So you can check that, but it is during the tenure of Indira Gandhi, okay. As UN peacekeepers comes under fire, India backed joint statement against Israeli action. So there was this Israeli aggression which was happening in the Lebanon, and where the, you can say, some of the peacekeeping forces were also posted. Some of the members were Indians as well. So when that attack, or during that particular attack, they got also injured, and that is why this particular statement has been made by the UNIFIL and actually India is supporting that statement, because obviously our forces are also there. Okay, our candidates are also there, aligned with the 34 UNIFIL countries after 2 Lanka soldiers injured in the Israeli strike. Okay, when we are talking about the soldiers who are injured, that is from the Sri Lanka, but again there were our soldiers as well. Okay, so that is why, considering that, they have said that they are supporting the you can say this resolution by the UNIFL. Okay, now see, a day after it expressed concern over the deteriorating situations along the Israel-Lebanon border, India Saturday joined the troop contributing countries in UN interim forces in Lebanon, that is UNIFL, UN interim forces in Lebanon. Okay, and aligned itself against the Israeli military's actions that has wounded 2 UN peacekeepers in Lebanon. Okay, so that is why the UN peacekeeping has been in news. As a major troop contributing country, India aligned itself fully with the joint statement issued by the 34 UNIFL troop contributing countries. Safety and security of peacekeepers and is of paramount importance and must be interested in according with the, you can say, extent of UNSC resolution. So basically they are saying that Israel has done wrong while going for the attacking on the UN peacekeeping forces, because the idea behind peacekeeping is to make sure that they will not be going for the use of violence. Okay, that is the one important characteristics when we talk about the UN peacekeepers. They do not use, you can say, lethal weapons, etc. They can go for the simple sticks, etc. But the thing is, they will not be using the guns until unless it is very important. Okay, the idea behind that is there is this concept of peace. Okay, so they will be there for the conflict resolution through the peaceful manner. Okay, coming to the next one, that was a serious development considering 2 people has got hurt over here. The forces has more than 10,000 peacekeepers from dozens of countries, and Indian troops accounted for the second largest number with around 900 personnel serving there. Okay, so that is there. Now here you can say, what is the importance of the statement which was made by the UNIFL over here? Here you can see it reflects that India's disquiet over the Israel's actions targeting the UN forces. Now they have said that what Israel has done, that was wrong, and this is the first time when we talk about the India's balancing act between Israel and Palestine. Okay, so most of the time we have seen that we are in favor of Israel when we are saying that terrorism cannot be tolerated. So when Israel is going against Hamas, we are with Israel. Okay, when we talk about the 2-state solution, we are with the Palestine over here. Okay, so we are going for a balancing act over here, but this is the time when India is criticized Israel as well. Okay, so that is a very different position from its balancing act support for the Israel's actions against Hamas and Hezbollah over the last 1 year, that is there. Now coming to the next one, that is here 120-kilometer blue line. Now when we talk about this particular blue line, you know that there is this territory, that is Golan Heights, that is of Syria, and this has been occupied by Israel since 1967. That particular territory has a part which is demilitarized. Okay, now that is basically having a 120-kilometer blue line, that is a UN recognized demarcation line indicating withdrawal of the Israeli military from the southern Lebanon. Okay, so here you can see 120-kilometer blue line is a United Nations recognized demarcation line indicating withdrawal of the Israeli military from the southern Lebanon, and that happened back then in 2000s. Okay, now it separates Lebanon from the Israel and the Golan Heights. Okay, so Golan Heights, Israel and Lebanon, this is a tri-junction where this particular blue line is located, but it is not an official international border. This is not a border, but just a, you can say, a kind of a demilitarized zone which is there. Okay, so that is there. Okay, so Hina Praveen has said that it is 1975. You can check the date, but it is during the tenure of Indira Gandhi. Okay, anyways, inviolability of UN premises must be respected by all, and appropriate measures taken to ensure the safety of UN peacekeepers and the sanctity of their mandate. The mandate is to go for peace in this particular region. The recent escalation along the blue line is causing widespread destruction of the towns and villages in the southern Lebanon. You know that when we talk about the Israel and Lebanon, Israel's northern borders are basically there with the Lebanon southern borders. Okay, Israel has entered into the southern borders of Lebanon, and they are going for the, you can say, this kind of aggressions over there, and that is cause of concern because there are various communities which are living over there, there are various villages which are over there, and they have to be displaced from them. Okay, so this is the situation which is there in the Middle East right now. Now talking about the UN peacekeeping forces, we'll be talking about certain facts about them. UN peacekeeping helps countries transition from conflict to peace by deploying military, police and civilian personnel. So basically they are having various components. One is military component, police component, civilian component, and these are the personnels which are being basically deployed in the UN peacekeeping forces. They are not allowed to use the violent method. The main goal is to maintain peace and the security, protect civilians and support stable governance structure over there. It involves cooperations among the UNGA, that is UN General Assembly, UN Security Council, that is UNSC, troop contributors and the host governments. Okay. Coming to the next one, peacekeeping mandate includes monitoring ceasefire, protecting civilians, facilitating political dialogues and the supporting humanitarian efforts. So basically there are four stakeholders. One is your UN General Assembly, UNGA. UN Security Council is there, then the one contributors who has sent the personnel over there, and the host governments. Let's say when we are talking about the Lebanon's case, the host government will be Lebanon. Okay, so now they are the four stakeholders, and the peacekeepings are basically, you can say, working on the collaboration of all these four stakeholders over here, and the mandate is to go for the protection of civilians and to make sure that there is a dialogue between the parties like Israel and the Lebanon. Okay, so that is the idea behind the UN peacekeeping forces. Operation require consent of the parties. Consent of the parties means both the parties in the conflict, they have to give the consent involved to avoid becoming part of the conflict. Now impartiality. Impartiality is a key principle which has to be followed. It is a key to ensuring the fairness through the peacekeepers actively upholding their mandates. Non-use of force basically. So that is non-violence or non-use of force is a guiding principle except in the self-defense or the mandate protection with some robust peacekeeping allowing force for the Security Council's approval. Okay, so as I told you, until unless it is very necessary, you cannot go for the using of the forceful methods. So in the case of self-defense or otherwise that has been sanctioned by the UNSC only, UN Security Council has actually sanctioned the use of force. Until unless you cannot go for the use of force. Okay. Now India is the major contributor, having sent approximately 2,75,000 troops to the UN peacekeeping missions globally. So that is why you can say there is some things which are there which is mentioned about the UN peacekeepers. So please remember that. Okay. Anyways, we can move further and to the next article, that is government begin study to find robust ancient Indian communities. When we talk about our ancient communities, there are various, you can say, discourses are there, various theories are there. Okay, when we talk about Aryans, there are various theories. Some are saying that they are actually people who has came from the sides of Iran or somewhere. Okay, or there are certain people who are saying that Aryans are indigenous. Now who is to believe? Now for that, government is going for a particular kind of study, okay, where in the, you can say, skeleton and the remains which has been collected from various sites of the Indus Valley civilization or other sites where we have found such structures, okay, or such skeleton, etc. So they will go for the DNA extraction of the DNA from those actually skeletons, etc. Then they will be matching it with the today's you can say DNA sequencing, etc., or the DNA samples which are there in the present times, and they are trying to find for kind of similarities which is there to make sure that whether Aryans were the in fact local people or the people from somewhere else. Okay, so that is something which government has started recently. So let's see what is there. So in a first, the government has undertaken a comprehensive scientific study using the ancient and the modern genomics to conclusively find the population history of the South Asia. Okay, now they are saying that they will be using the ancient as well as the modern genomics. Okay, that is a comparative study between the ancient and the modern genomics, and they will try to establish a relation between both of them. Okay, now moving further, they are talking about the history of South Asia. Okay, because obviously the course of civilization has started from Indus Valley and then they have moved toward the other side of the Indian subcontinent. And other than that, when we talk about the South India, there are Dravidas which was there. So considering that we have to go for matching these genomics, and then they will decide that whether which theory holds good. Okay, then moving further, here you can say we have anthropological survey of India. Now when we talk about the skeletons and the samples which has been collected, these are collected by the archaeological survey of India. Okay, and then they have sent these samples to the Anthropological Survey of India, they will be going for the research on that. They will be involving various other institutes as well. Now this ANSI, that is under the Ministry of Culture. Okay. Now here you can see the study using the scientific techniques such as DNA analysis aims to offer insights into the movement of the ancient population in India. They will be seeing that how the population has moved. Okay, so let's see when we talk about this particular part. Okay, this is how something like this is there. This is the part of your, you can say, West Asia. Then we have this Indus Valley civilization, etc., and then this is the northeastern region. This is the Ganga plains. Okay. Now you will be seeing that when we talk about this particular region of Indus Valley civilization, from where the civilization has started, and that civilization has moved towards the eastern sides. Okay. So movement of civilization over here, when we talk about Indus Valley civilization, and after that we have seen that after Indus Valley we have seen the age wherein the Ganga plains were fertile and people have shifted to the Ganga plains, and then we have Magad, etc. And so still when we talk about the northeastern region, most of the communities living there are basically having you can say these are basically tribal communities. Okay. So progression of civilization is like this. Now we have to see that whether Aryans, you know, other Aryans, or the, you can say when we talk about the skeletons which were, you know, found over there, so from which they actually is matching. Okay. So considering that, they will be going for the study over there. The evidence will help us understand the expansion of the ancient Indian population over time, how the population has expanded from which area to which area. Now reconstruction of the population history of South Asia using the ancient and the modern genomics, that is the study, you can say title of the study. Okay. And they will be studying the 300 ancient skeletons which were there. Now from this article there are certain things which are important. They have given important sites over here. Now that can be asked in the examination. So let's see archaeological sites in India and Pakistan. Here you can see Indus Valley civilization sites such as Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, that is there in Pakistan now, Burjahom, that is there in Jammu and Kashmir, then Nagarjunakonda, that is there in Andhra Pradesh, Musky, that is there in Karnataka, and Ropar, that is there in Punjab, and Lothal, that is there in Gujarat. Okay. So now these are the sites which they have mentioned in this article, and that are there with respect to the skeletons found over here. So obviously these sites, since they are in news, so that can be important for you for your examinations as well. Okay. Then coming to the next one, between 1922 and 1958, Archaeological Survey of India later entrusted these samples to ANSI, serve as the custodian of these ancient remains. Okay. Coming to the next one, please remember that the Anthropological Survey of India is the custodian of the you can say human remains which has been found. Okay. Coming to the next one here, aims to explore the origin of the ancient Indian communities by studying the DNA extracted from the skeleton remains, which I have already discussed. It will also uncover clues about the ancient diets, living conditions, disease prevalence, and the adaptation of the environment, and the movement and the migration patterns of the people, and integration over the time, and sharing the gene pool. Now when you look at these remains, etc., you will be finding that where these people lived earlier, what was the living condition, what kind of diseases were prevalent over there, and what was the migration pattern, why they actually migrated. It is the theory that initially these Aryans were the indigenous people, okay, that were there in the Indus Valley sites along the river bank of the Saraswati river, and then when Saraswati river dried up, they started to move toward the eastern regions, and they have come to the Ganga plains, etc. Okay, so that is one of the theory. So now these remains, they will be studied, and then there might be chances that we will come up with a more comprehensive theory about the you can say migration of the population in the subcontinent. Okay. Now coming to the next one, that is the understanding where people came from, how they lived, how environment changes and shaped history and the legacy. Coming to the next one, Aryan invasion theory, which we have already seen in various classes, a class of fair skinned agrarian people who migrated from Central Asia to India after the Indus Valley period, that is 2000 to 1500 before Christ, that is BC, played a key role in the civilizing the subcontinent. However, many modern archaeologists says that Aryan were the indigenous people living along the river Saraswati. Once dried up, they migrated to the other regions. Okay, so these are the two theories which are actually discussed. One is that they were from Middle East somewhere, and they have come to they are from the Central Asia, and they have come to India. And second, that is regarding this Saraswati river, that they were indigenous people, and then they have moved to the other part of the country. Okay, that is there. Now They will be going for the comparative study of the ancient DNA with that of the modern significance in the uncovering India's complex migration history, clarifying the origin of the ancient civilization. So that is about this article and about the, you can say, important sites which are there whether in the India and Pakistan that can be asked to you. There are two theories which has been discussed, that is Aryan can be indigenous people, Aryan can be, you can say, from the Central Asia. Mostly they will not be asking about such controversial stuff, but the thing is they can ask you about the opinion, okay, with respect to that. So we have discussed this. Now we can move further to the next article. Now Defence Ministry seeks more fund to expand the scope of IDEX scheme, that is Innovation of Defence Excellence Scheme. Okay, Innovation of Defence Excellence Scheme, here they are actually throwing some challenges to you. Okay, some challenges are given and the startups or the MSMEs, these are to come up with the solution and then government will fund their projects. Okay, so they are trying to go for the expansion of the service, this particular scheme. There were initially 498 somewhere, you can say 498 crore rupees has been sanctioned earlier. 90% of this particular fund has been used and similar amount has actually been asked for again. So you can say that nearly it will be around somewhere 950 crore project. Okay, so that will be there. Now see, Innovation of Defence Excellence, that is IDEX scheme. Department of Defence Production, that is DPP, that is under the Ministry of Defence, exhausted around 90% of the funds which were given earlier, that is 498.78 crore rupees, and the time period of the project was 2021 22 to 2025-26. So that was the time period that was decided earlier. Okay, now IDEX schemes aim to provide financial support to the nearly 300 startups, MSMEs, individual innovators and about 20 partner incubators for the development of the niche defense and the aerospace technologies. So basically in the field of defense and aerospace we have this IDEX scheme and they will be helping nearly 300 innovators, startups and the MSMEs. Okay, now initially the grant provided for the IDEX winners were 1.5 crore. Earlier for a winner, that is these 300 startup and MSMEs, whatever challenge was given, who was the winner, that was given a 1.5 crore rupees, but that was actually increased later to 10 crore. Okay, why? Because they have seen that 1.5 crore is a, you can say, amount where various constraints were there which the desired results could not be actually achieved over here. The stakeholders felt that despite having the capability and the technologies, technological know-how, the ceiling of 1.5 crore was a constraint in developing advanced and the complex systems in the niche domain of the defense and aerospace. Okay, coming to other part, here there is another scheme which has been discussed, that is Aditi, acting development of innovative technologies with IDEX. Okay, so please remember this as well as IDEX, both of them IDEX and the Aditi. These two are related. Aditi is a component of IDEX, you can say, and these two are related to the defense sector and the aerospace technologies. Okay, defense niche and aerospace technologies. Okay, acting development of the innovative technologies with IDEX. Now there are two phases. There was Aditi and then Aditi 2.0, and in that there were various challenges which were thrown and then the people will be awarded with some kind of prize. Okay, startup are eligible to receive grant in aid up to rupees 25 crore. In the Aditi they will be getting 25 crores. Okay, crore for their research, development and the innovation and innovative endeavors in the defense technology. Aditi 2.0 featuring the 19 challenges. Earlier in the Aditi phase 1 there was 17 challenges and now they are having 19 challenges from the armed forces and the allied agencies with respect to the artificial intelligence, quantum technology, military communication, anti-drones systems, etc. So for that they will be giving you 25 crores if you are a winner. So ultimately here you can see they are using the cutting edge technologies, okay, and in the defense sector. For that they are going for the research and innovation, and for that government is sponsoring them, government is giving them money. Okay, so that is there. Now moving further to the next one, that is talking about the as senior living expense, developers and the policy makers strive to keep up. Okay, now when we talk about the demographic dividend, okay, so demographic dividend was there. And it was saying that the India will be having a good amount of young people which will be there. Now since we are moving towards that, after that we will be having a place wherein the population of seniors will also be increasing. Okay, those people who has been young sometimes, they will also become old, or those people who are basically right now young today, they will be getting older. Okay, so for that we are seeing that there will be a market which will be developed, and there is a demand which is been created, but we are not yet to cater that particular demand. Okay, so we'll be seeing that what kind of market, what kind of data is there right now, and on the basis of which whether we will be going to fulfill that demand or not, or whether we can see this as a potential market where you can go for the investments. Okay, so let's see over here. Now there is this term that is demographic winter. When we talk about the demographic dividend, we know that there is some kind of profit which will come from the young population. Okay, now there is this demographic winter. Now you will be telling me in the comment box that what is demographic winter. Okay, because obviously this particular term has been asked in the mains 2024. This time in UPSC mains 2024, they have asked about the demographic winter. Okay, anyways, coming to this particular pointers over here, senior living demand is expanding beyond South India due to evolving family structure and the nuclear families. Since nuclear families are there and this concept is basically being evolving, so when we talk about the senior citizens etc., they want to live, or you can say family members, they want them to live a different life, which is you can say again from the stereotypical norms which are there. They are trying to go away from them. In the nuclear families, you know that the maximum number of people is like 4 or 5. Okay, then these senior citizens are, you can say, wanting to go for the living demand where they can live their, you can say, last part of their life. Okay, and they want to live that in maybe in a religious place or religious city etc., or cultural cities etc. So that is there, and we are seeing that as a rising sector where you can go for the investments. Here you can see seniors in their early 60s are increasingly opting for the independent living units. Okay, independent living units. Seniors are going for living in the independent living units, not just for the medical needs. Okay, so they want to live their life out of the you can say responsibilities of the families etc. They want to live a life outside that. Okay, so for that they want to have these living units where they can go and live. Most of the time when we talk about India, in India people are not going for rents, they are actually going for buying the place. When we are talking about the buying the place, that is something which is not available in India yet. Major demand centers are emerging in the temple towns like Varanasi, with seniors preferring culturally rich environment. Okay, so people who are in the later age, they want to live in such areas. By 2030, the senior living market is expected to grow 5-fold, but still only reach, or the penetration is 3%. Okay, so we are still catering to the demands of 3% of the demand which is being generated, or which will get generated in the future by 2030. Here you can see Indian senior overwhelmingly preferring purchasing units, while in USA leasing is more common. As I told you, we will be going for mostly for purchasing the houses or units, or not for the rent. Okay, obviously they are seeing this as well as a opportunity to create assets as well. Now there is a supply demand gap which currently sharply exists at 20,000 units which are there, and you can say estimated demand will be there in 18 to 20 lakh units, that is in 2024, and when we are talking about 2030, that will be even more. Okay, Southern India dominates the market due to the climate and the family structure differences, but North India is gaining traction. When we talk about South India, that the kind of norms are already existing. People want to live separate from the senior citizens, want to live separate from the families. Or when we talk about the people from the South India, most of the time you will be seeing that they are going for the from the Kerala, if specifically speaking, that is gaining the highest amount of the you can say money from the outside. Okay, so most of the people are going out for their work related things, so senior citizens are living alone. So that is there in South India, but now in North India also it is getting attraction. Okay, policymakers are stepping in with regulations and the recommendations, including the faster project approvals and the accreditation standards. Real estate developers need to focus on the service oriented models with more open spaces and long term value, not just profit driven developments. Okay, so here that is a new trend which is starting, and there is a new demand which is being generated in the market. Okay, moving further, Rupee hits record low 84 against US dollar, factors leading to the fall and the outlook. Now this is the news that Rupee has hit the record low. Okay, now when we talk about the value of dollar getting increased or dollar getting strengthened, that means that rupee is getting depreciated. Okay, so when rupee is getting depreciated, so when we talk about the factors which are there, which are responsible for that, so let's see the factors. That is what is important for us. Other than that, these you can say the data or the numbers, that is not important right now. Okay, now rupee ended above 84 per US dollar mark for the first time on Friday, closing at 84.07. The fall in the rupee came amid the outflows from the foreign institutional investors. Okay, now when we are talking about the foreign institutional investors, so whatever institutional investments which were there, they are actually going out of the country. Okay, so basically these are in dollar and dollar is going out of the country. That means that the demand of dollar is increasing in India. That is why the value of dollar is also increasing. Okay, so because since the demand is increasing, supply is less, and that is why the value is increasing, and that is why rupee is getting depreciated. Okay, so that is there. Now how much did the rupee fall, which we have already seen 84, that is the value right now. That is basically you can say $1, that is 84.07 rupees right now. Okay, coming to the next one, what triggered the slide? So there are 2-3 things. One, there is a war going on in Russia, then Ukraine. Then when we talk about Israel, Lebanon, Israel, Hamas. So because of this, second thing is crude oil prices. Okay, so that is the second thing. And because of all these things, we are having this foreign institutional investments which are getting out of the country. Okay, so that is why we are seeing this particular thing, that rupee is falling. Okay, concerns over the rise in the crude oil prices, outflow from the foreign funds to China, increase in the demand for US currency from the foreign banks. Now since there is a issue which is going on in the Middle East and the war which is going on in the you can say Russia, etc., there is a demand from the foreign banks that they want the dollar. Okay, so that dollar is going out. Second thing is where these investments are going, foreign investments which are there in the India, why they are where they are going basically. So now they are moving from India to China. Okay, because China's investments are actually because of the cheap products, etc. Also China is getting more investments now, and because of which we are facing this particular issue. The overnight softening, let's talk about why foreign investors are selling now. Okay, so strategy, that is sell India, buy China. That is a term which you can remember, sell India, sell India, buy China. This is the concept or the philosophy they are following right now, that whatever investment or the stocks which you are having in India, you can sell that stock and then you can buy in China. Why is that happening? That is Chinese authorities has announced monetary and the fiscal measures to stimulate the economy. Now the government there is giving some kind of incentives, and because of which you can say these investors are going to China right now. Okay, FPI money has been moving to Chinese stocks which they are cheap even now. They are getting cheaper, and that is why investors are seeing that since these stocks are cheap, then they are investing in the Chinese, you can say, stock market. Now what is the outlook on the rupee front? So analysts expect the rupee to remain volatile due to the uncertainties which are there in the various fields, that is be it war, be it crude oil prices, etc. So that is there. Pressure from the FPIs is there because FPIs are going out. Geopolitical uncertainty is there because of the war in Middle East. Strength in the US dollar may further pressurize. Since US dollar is strengthened, obviously it will put a pressure on the rupee. Okay, so that is the things which are given in this particular article. Okay, now we can move further to the next one, that is talking about the PM calls for your India-ASEAN trade deal review amid rising trade gaps. So basically PM is saying that when we are talking about the free trade agreement which is there between the India and ASEAN, there should be a review. That review has been sought various times, but finally now they are, after some years, they are actually considering this. Now why this review is needed? Because there is this ASEAN China economic developments which are happening. ASEAN and China are getting more interlinked. Okay, because of which China's products are going to ASEAN, and ASEAN countries are having a free trade agreement with India. Okay, so the Chinese products are getting through this particular route into India. Okay, so that there is this issue of country of origin issue, and we are getting more dependent on China. with respect to the raw material, etc. Recently we have witnessed that there is a trade between Asia and India is growing, and we are having a deficit with ASEAN. Okay, ASEAN is getting benefited with the FTA, and that is why our Prime Minister said that there should be a review. Okay, so that is their slow pace of FTA review. Despite having the talks are there, despite the disproportionality which is there between the India ASEAN FTA, but you can say the pace is slow of the review. Okay, moving further, high tariffs brings larger benefits. Now these benefits are there for the ASEAN and not for India, so that is also there. Anti-dumping probes and the routing concerns, as I told you that because of the route that is being taken, the Chinese goods are coming to India through the ASEAN way, so that is a routing issue. And anti-dumping, because obviously China's cheap products are coming, so India has to go for the you can say anti-dumping duties, but we are having a FTA with ASEAN, so that is also becoming an obstacle between them. So okay, you can go through this article, that is all being discussed in this. Okay, coming to the next one, when we talk about the Nobel Peace Prize that is been given over here to Nilhon Hidanko. This is basically you can say a body which is there. Okay, so for its efforts to achieve a world free of nuclear weapons and the demonstrating through the witness testimony that nuclear weapons must never be used again. So this particular group, Nihon Hidankyo, that is basically is a group in Japan that is made by the people who survived the nuclear attack. Okay, so that was there in the during the time of the World War II, that is 1946. They have those people who have survived, they have actually created this particular group. Okay, when we talk about the literature, so here we have Han Kang, that is she has got that for the poetic works which has been done by her. Now coming to the passing reference, NASA has gone for a spacecraft, that is Europa Clipper, that will be, you can say, looking in the moons of the Jupiter. Okay, so that is there. Coming to the, for your own read, there are two article, issues in the treatment of the rare diseases, that is there, and second is basically with respect to the peacekeepers, which we have already discussed, but you want to go through this article, you can. Okay, so that is about today's discussion. In the end, there is this question: what is the primary goal of UN peacekeeping? A is economic development, environmental protection, to maintain peace and security, protect civilians and support stable governance, or political domination. Okay, so this is about the question. You can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you, and please subscribe the channel.